algebra, we are going over rule number 2 for exponent expressions. This is dividing by the same base. So yesterday we focused on, well, last 2 days, focused on multiplying by the same base. Here we are dividing by the same base. And if you look at the questions that are in the examples here and on your homework, what do you notice about all of them? What do they all have in common? Evelyn. What's that? Division. They're all written like a fraction, right? They're all division, which is your hint that you're using this rule. Because eventually, once we learn all of them, I'm just going to give you an expression, and you need to decide which rule do I use to simplify it. Well, if you're dividing, if it's written as a fraction, that's your hint that you are dividing by the same base. But just like yesterday, 2 days ago, we're going to start with expanded form, okay? And we're going to look at what's actually going on when we have exponents as part of a fraction. So the first example here, 3 to the 5th divided by 3 squared. In expanded form, what's 3 to the 5th? What does that look like all written out? Aiden.
3 times 3 times 3 times 3.
3 times 3 times 3 times 3, right? 5 of them, okay? And then in our denominator, we have 3 squared, which is written as 3 times 3. Okay? Now, I line those up a certain way intentionally because of what we're able to do next. Anybody have any guesses? How we're able to simplify this, what we can do next? Evan?
When you find like the answer and then divide it?
Nope, not that. Gus?
The 3's cancel out.
The 3's cancel out, right? You learned this when you first started learning division. What is anything divided by itself? 1, right? So since we have this group of 3 divided by 3, we can cancel them out. They're gone. It essentially breaks down to 1 over 1, which is just 1, so it just goes away. Okay? Same thing with this group of 3's here. 3 divided by 3 is 1. It's gone. Cancels out. And so what we're left with, our simplified expression is going to be 3 times 3 times 3, which is written as 3 cubed, and our denominator is gone. If you want to write it as over 1, then you can. You don't have to, though. Okay? But 3 cubed is our answer. Now, if you want to actually evaluate it, then you would take 3 times 3 times 3, right? But we're just looking at simplifying it. We're not looking at evaluating, just simplifying. So we're going to leave it as 3 times 3 times 3, or 3 cubed. Okay? The next one, 6x to the 4th z squared. How many 6's do we have there? Just 1, because what is it? Coefficient. Okay? So 6 times how many x's? 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 times how many z's? 2 times z. Then in our denominator, how many 3's? Just 1. How many x's? 2. And again, I'm being intentional here. My z's, I'm not going to put them beneath my x's. I want to put them beneath my z's. Right? It doesn't really make a difference, right? In my denominator, I'm still taking 3 times x times x times z times z times z. I've just shifted those z's over for what purpose?
Cancel.
To cancel them out. It makes the canceling a little bit easier. So your lines aren't going all over the place, right? You're essentially keeping them going vertically. Evelyn.
Why don't you just put the first c and do the x?
What's that?
Why don't you just shift it this way 1 instead of?
I can do that too.
Oh, okay.
Life is full of decisions. Okay? But what's that? It doesn't. Right, yeah. So now that we go to our canceling, how many pairs of x's can be canceled out? 2 of them, right? X divided by x equals 1. We don't know what x is, but it doesn't matter. Anything divided by itself will be 1. The second pair of x divided by x equals 1. I can't cancel out the other 2 x's. That's okay. I go to my z's. I can cancel out this pair of z divided by z. I can cancel out this pair of z divided by z. And that third z in the denominator that doesn't cancel out, that's okay.
I thought that little green line was you were asking.
Sorry, what?
I thought the little green line was crossing it.
Oh, no. So, okay. Here's a history lesson on Mr. Schultz. Okay. So I have always written my 2's like this, right? Because if I write them the other way, it looks too much like a Z. People will get confused. Okay. So that's why I always write my 2's like that. Then I was accused of having how to go. So when I write Z, they say, is that a Z or a 2? And I'm like, no. I always write my 2's like this, never like that. It's always a Z, because I used to write my Z's just like a normal person, right? And they're like, is that a 2 or a Z? No, it's not a 2, it's a Z. I always write my 2's like that. So then I decided to accommodate my students, because that's what excellent teachers do, right? And I added a line there to identify it more as a Z than a 2. And then they're like, is that a Z or an underline 7? Like, why would I write an underline 7? Stop doing that. So anyway, so that's why I put a line in the Z, because like 10 years ago, some kids were confused, and it changed my entire life.
That's very thoughtful.
Yeah, thank you for appreciating it.
You're not going to use a book for that.
So, what's that?
You say you're very thoughtful.
That what?
You say you're very thoughtful.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So anyway, back to this here. We've done the variables, but we didn't touch the 6 and the 3. Okay? Now, this is a fraction, right? Which means we're going to treat these coefficients as we would a fraction. The fraction 6/3. How does the fraction 6/3 simplify? 2 over 1, right? We essentially divide by 3, and we get 2 over 1. So what are we left with? In our numerator,
2x2.
we have that 2x2,
2x squared.
2x squared, right, in our numerator. And what's left in our denominator? Just a z. Now, if you want to put the 1z, you can, but if 1's a coefficient, you don't have to write it. It's understood. So 2x squared over z is our final simplified expression.
Why does it have to be over?
Why does it have to be over z? Why is the z in the denominator and not the numerator? Evelyn?
Because the z's in the numerator were all canceled out.
Right.
Why?
Where was the z originally? The z originally was in the denominator. We can't just move it up top because we want to, because it's easier. Okay? You cannot do that, no. Right? Wherever you've got those leftover pieces in the fraction, that's where they have to stay. The z ended up in the denominator, so that's where it's got to stay in our final answer. Right. The last one, 9m to the 4th over 12m, coefficient 9, so we got one of them. And then m times m times m times m to the 4th. Then in our denominator, we have 12 times m, just one 12, just one m. Okay? Tell me what I can do here. What am I able to cancel out, simplify? A.
You could simplify the 9 over 12 to simplify.
Yeah, again, these being coefficients, what does the fraction 9/12 simplify to be? 3/4. Right? Divide by 3 each of them, and you get 3/4. Okay, what else can I do here? What else can I do? Yeah.
M and M.
One pair of m's cancels out, because m divided by m equals 1. So now, what am I left with? In my numerator, I've got 3m cubed. And in my denominator, I'm left with a 4. And so 3m cubed over 4 would be my simplified answer. Right? Questions on what you see here? Okay. So just like with CO10, we're going to skip this section here, right? We're going to do the hard work first. And we're going to simplify each expression. There are only 6 of them. Writing them out in expanded form. So 9 to the 6th over 9 to the 4th. In expanded form, 9 to the 6th, 9 times 9 times 9 times 9 times 9 times 9. Over 9 to the 4th, 9 times 9 times 9 times 9. Go ahead and simplify it from there. And your homework they do need to be written out in expanded form. It's a requirement. Okay. So make sure that you're not doing the back. You're only doing these 6 questions for Monday. Plenty of time.
For Monday?
Because tomorrow's a retake day.
Oh, bet.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember practice work there.
There you go. There's your task. Khan Academy also. Don't let that sneak up on you.
I think I did last week.
This batch due tonight was assigned 2 weeks ago. Because we didn't have any assigned over MEA.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, I did.
So
I didn't even know there was one over MBA.
there wasn't one over MEA.
I'm like, it's the one that was an hour over MBA.
I thought there
I just never checked my computer.
It was from the week before. Yeah. Anyway, what does this simplify to be? How can you simplify this? 9 squares is the final answer because gone, and you're left with 9 squared. Is 9 squared in your numerator or the denominator of the fraction? Numerator, right? We can see it. They're still up top. If you want to write it over 1, you can. You don't have to. Most teachers in high school are probably like, why'd you put it over 1? Don't blame me. I'm saying you don't have to, okay? But if you want to, the option's there. Pick one in the second row.
In the middle. No, not the middle.
What?
Yes,
No, it's fine. That's all right.
The middle
No,
is
leave the
easy.
middle one. That's good. That's
The
good.
middle is easy.
Yep.
The
The middle one.
Come on now.
How many 8s are there here? 1. It's a coefficient. So 8 times x times x times x times x times y times y times y is our numerator. Our denominator, 1, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 x's, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 y's. Whew, that's a doozy. Go ahead and simplify it on your own. Cancel out what you can cancel out. Simplify what you can simplify. What does this button do? Oh, should use that one. The first one?
Yeah.
That's when James wants to go to science.
Actually, no, I don't want to. Yeah.
How dare you say that?
Mr. Roy is the best.
That's why he's my Westie.
No, I'm just gonna make
What's
this
the-
another.
Mr. Shark, can you draw us?
Can I draw
Mr.
a
Roy,
Z?
yesterday was
You know
like,
that?
I feel like you don't care about sex. What? Yes, he said that to you.
I said it,
Yes,
yes.
remember when you were like,
He just said if I'm not thinking of any questions, there's something wrong.
Bad Jonas.
Yeah,
and then he
gave
gave
you
you
chocolate.
All right, we must be done simplifying. Priya, since you're yelling across the room, yell to me. How would you simplify this?
You do. I haven't finished it yet.
Then why are we yelling across the room? Uh-huh.
Started at it.
Evan, how would you simplify this?
Take the 8 and the 4 and you make them equal, 'cause I know the 4 is 2.
Okay, so start with the 8 and the 4. And 8/4 simplifies to be 2 over 1. You can divide each by 4. Okay?
And then you take 4 of the x's, so there's 5 on one side and 4 on the other.
4 pairs of x's cancel out.
This is 3 pairs of y's.
3 pairs of y's cancel out. And this is why, I'm going to pause there. This is why showing work is very important, and showing neat work is very important. For those of you that let your work kind of go all over the page, and it's not in straight lines, this one's curving upward, this is kind of sideways, it makes it difficult. You're going to lose variables. You're going to lose stuff that you need. Okay. Second point, notice I did one type of simplifying in red, the other type of simplifying in blue. That is because these x's and y's represent what of the expression? The bases. The 8 and the 4 represent what in the expression? The coefficients. We'll talk about that when we talk about the rule on Monday. Anyway, what's left in our numerator?
2x, y squared.
And our numerator is just a 2. Everything else canceled out. Okay? In our denominator is where we have the x and the y squared. Right? In this case, you do need the denominator because you have stuff left over at the bottom of the fraction. Right? If that's where your stuff is left, that's where it needs to be in your final answer. James, are you attacking me or what are you doing? Yeah.
So, what's the H? What's the H one? You just put
Yes.
the H around it.
And then what goes in the numerator? No.
Hey, you're out.
What is that? Why?
Yeah.
One?
Yeah.
Is it one?
For the second one
Not that.
on the bottom, wouldn't you have to put a 1, otherwise it would be a coefficient?
The x?
Yeah.
The coefficients are only numbers. So the coefficient can't be x, right? That would be a base. Okay. No, good clarifying question. Excellent work. Okay. All right, homework for Monday is to finish just this first page. You do not need to go to the second page. Make sure you're writing each of them out in a standard form. Also on your plate, Khan Academy, do tonight. Practice work potentially tomorrow in class is a retake day. Some of you have an entrance exam stuff to finish as well. Lots to do. That's how you math.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.